came to act at the Constitutional Court. And I don't know, you struck me as a free person. I remember you teasing a colleague about the word or the expression he or she used. And what have you to say about that environment? What needs to be improved? And there is no perfect environment. So please speak out. What needs to be changed so that if appointed, you can be as comfortable as you should be in that environment?
Chief Justice, regarding making an acting judge in that environment comfortable, I don't think there's more that the judges of that court, and let me add, it doesn't only extend to the judges of the court. When you come in at security, it's the way the security, the cleaning staff, it's the way everybody deal with each other. It's just that ethos where you know that everybody, you can feel the Ubuntu, the spirit there at that court. So regarding making people feel more welcoming, I don't think there's anything more that court can do to make people feel welcome. I have not heard a single acting judge come back from the Constitutional Court and say they did not feel welcome, they did not feel comfortable.
Didn't you create that environment by baking us all those cakes yourself and those muffins?
I contributed and I added to an environment that I found. Yeah. It was an environment that allowed me to excel and to thrive and to be comfortable.
Commissioners, Dr. Monseka?
Judge, would you agree with me that from your family and professional background, you have never been inadequate? And if so, would you agree with me that you were a victim of racism? Thirdly, that judges, both black and white, require a program to combat racism within the judiciary in order to deepen and entrench Ubuntu philosophy and its inherent values and principles.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Yes, when I look back now, I know that I'm not inadequate, and I know that I'm capable. But at that time, I felt inadequate, and the actions that were directed against me were intended to make me feel that way. Yes, I have been a victim of racism. I've also been a victim of sexism. Yes, judges require training. Recently, at the High Court, we underwent diversity training. Recently, at our court, we did a similar exercise. And I must say, for myself as well, as a black person, I also got to look at some of my white colleagues who participated in that session a bit differently.
Lastly, I just want to assure you that you have not come to a wrong forum here, because there are many young women who would find themselves or already find themselves in the situation you found yourself, and that you if appointed, I think you would be a very good role model to lead them out of that situation.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Nokesi?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Judge Theron.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Firstly, when you were led by the Chief Justice, answering, I don't know why you don't mention that in 1998 you were.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, we couldn't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm saying as you were just introducing yourself here, I don't understand why you don't mention that 1998, very young, you were already acting in the Transkei Division and inspiring a lot of young people, bearing in mind at that time we've been just allowed a right of audience in the High Court. And also, at that time, you were one of those judges who are willing to assist in terms of the young practitioner. How did you do that? What is your perception that of allowing young practitioners who come to the practice to give them that opportunity within the High Court?
Commissioner, I believe in the saying, Ubuntu, ngubuntu ngabantu. And I am where I am because of people who assisted me. And the least I can do in return is to assist others. And that is why I'm passionate about getting involved in organizations that empower particularly our youth and women. I think coming to ACT in Umtata was a turning point for me. I was very, very young at that time. And at the time, I had been serving on a commission appointed by late President Mandela with Judge Somyalo. And it was Judge Somyalo who was the judge president, and I think he saw something in me that others hadn't seen up to then and gave me the opportunity to act in Umtata. And if you would allow me to digress for a moment, Chief Justice, I know some of what we've been dealing with here at the Commission has been ways to increase the pool or available pool of women for appointment. And something to consider is to appoint women to act in smaller divisions. And not just in the huge divisions where they can get sucked in and also be intimidated, where you have a motion court roll of 140 matters as opposed to having a motion court roll of between 30 and 40 matters. I had that experience where I had that motion court roll and it was 40 matters in Umtata as opposed to 140 in Durban. And after that, I was in a much better position to succeed in a bigger division, and especially where people are looking at you to fail.
Thank you, Judge. I note from your CV that you indicate that you have an understanding of Zulu as a language. You have a little understanding. In other words, how languages can enhance access to justice in terms of influencing or understanding the cultures of particularly the indigenous people. Why is it important for justice at least to have some understanding of languages?
Commissioner, I have tried to, I'm originally from KZN. I have tried to learn Zulu, but not with the greatest of success. But many people in my family speak Zulu. And unfortunately, at the time when we were growing up, we were discouraged from speaking Zulu. My grandmother was a Zulu woman from Umlazi. And somehow, she managed to get herself reclassified because she looked across the road and she looked to Wentworth. And she said in Wentworth, people who are classified by that government as coloreds were getting better houses. And so she got herself reclassified and her children. And then she said to the children, now, if they know that we are Africans, we will lose this house. So you are not to speak Zulu. And it's a sad indictment on our society. And I regret that I can't speak the language of my grandmother. I studied Zulu 1 at university, but I came out knowing vocabulary. I cannot speak it. And as a High Court judge, because sometimes I knew a little bit of words here and there were times when I could pick up that the translator, the interpreter, didn't understand the witness. And if we just go back a little bit in history, it's important to know people's culture and custom. Before you know that judges, when a witness looks down, then judges say that this witness is disrespectful. But by looking down, the witness is actually showing respect to the court, because in some cultures you don't look the person straight in the eye because it's almost like you might be challenging them. So yes, language is important, but I think learning culture and learning custom is equally, if not even more important for judges.
And my last question, Judge. I see that you are one of those active judges in the Sajay programs. In fact, I was part of the students, in the Sajay, where you were actually training. What is your view on the judicial training? Particularly, the aspirant training that the CJA has introduced, advanced courses. How do you think that can assist in terms of enhancing the capacity, the competence of those who are appointed to the judiciary ultimately? What needs more to be done? What can you say on that?
Yes, I have participated and I continue to participate in judicial education programs organized not only by SARJ, but also by the Bar Council, by the Attorney Societies, and I give guest lectures at university. I think that is a start, the program that the Chief Justice is running, but I also think we can do more. And when I look especially at women, and I think that there should be some programs aimed particularly at women.
Thank you, Commissioner Nokesi. Commissioner Schmidt.
Thank you, Chief Justice. I just want to continue where you left off now. And looking quickly at your CV, you've survived about 8 years at the bar in KwaZulu-Natal and appointed as a judge at the age of 33. You've already indicated that one should look at specific programs for women judges, candidate judges, as well as enabling environment for new candidates. But what in particular would one learn from the lessons you learned in order to facilitate a process where A, more women candidates make themselves available, and B, what should we be more aware of in possibly enabling more candidates to be appointed as judges? Because, most of us here see it from our perspective, and I'm not sure that our perspective has been correct in the past number of years. But, yeah, maybe your input.
If I can address the first question, Commissioner Smith, about creating a bigger pool, I'll give you an example of what the Chief Justice did in 2014. In 2014, he announced publicly that he was making a concerted effort to increase the pool of which appointment can be made, a pool of women judges who would be available for the Constitutional Court. In 2015, he invited at least, if I can recall, 7 women judges to act in that year, of which I was one. Again in 2015, he said, we have a vacancy on the court. We are looking specifically at the gender imbalance of the court. In May 2017, when there was a vacancy on the Constitutional Court, there were 4 women that made themselves available here to the JSC, and it was as a direct result of the positive intervention of the Chief Justice. I'm saying it needn't stop there. Look at what results that achieved within a period of 18 months. We can continue with instances like that. The Chief Justice can again say, after the sitting, he can announce that he's going to focus on women and bringing more women to act in that court. And it must go down to the judges' president as well, that they're going to say, we're looking, and make it public, let people know, let everybody know, we're looking to address the gender imbalance in the court. And we are not just saying that we're unhappy with the lack of gender representativity. We are doing something, and this is what we are doing. We are looking to invite more suitable women to come and act in that position. And for the JSC as well, it's always open to the JSC not to make an appointment and to say to the Judge President, we are not satisfied that you have made sufficient effort in getting suitable women candidates. So you first make the effort, and if after that you still don't come up with suitable candidates, then we can revisit the situation.
So basically, in a nutshell, you're saying a considered, deliberate approach towards ensuring more candidates make themselves available and that more people are invited to act.
That's where it starts, Commissioner Smith. It starts with giving capable women, or women who have potential, the ability to act. And I'm not saying that everybody then who has acted is then automatically suitable, but that is just the start of being supported further and built up further. I'll tell you, when I was nominated for a position as a judge, permanent judge of KZN, the newspapers weren't too kind to me, and quoting my lack of experience, my lack of experience in commercial work, which I accepted I had. I didn't have a lot of commercial work. I didn't have a practice that had a lot of dealing. But you know what they did say? And I took this as my greatest asset. They said, in a kind of throwaway line, at least she has potential. But I'm saying that is what must be looked for in candidates. And the candidates that have the potential must be built up in the same way that I have been built up.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. But of course, you know that effort to attract many women to the Constitutional Court was attacked through articles in the newspapers, in journals, by women, letters written to me, even by organizations that are established to create gender representation. Why was that so? Suggesting that, no, once they are there, they will do everything basically to please President Zuma so that he can appoint them permanently.
Chief Justice, I cannot speak for people who were critical of
The
that,
motivation,
the
yes.
motivation for them, but their criticism would apply to any candidate who's in an acting position. It's too generalized. It would apply to an acting judge in the High Court. It would apply to an acting judge in the SCA.
I'm saying, in circumstances where you would expect women who claim to be concerned about gender representation and who should be concerned about the need for more gender representation, and organizations established to further the good cause of gender representation in the judiciary, to support any endeavor to that end, what would explain this opposition to efforts that you have referred to at the Constitutional Court of bringing in many women to come and act? What would explain it has never happened before, this can't be right?
Yes. Unfortunately, Chief Justice, I cannot explain it. I cannot go on the basis because something has not happened before, it can't be right. And also, I think it's for those organizations who criticize that to say, instead of following X, this is what we should be doing, to come with alternative proposals.
Yes.
And then it's for people who are in the position to make decisions to consider that proposal and to say, well, this is a better proposal to what I have and will
Yes.
achieve more results.
Yes. Professor Ndlama?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Justice Theron.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm also well. I just have one question. You have been nominated by one of the organizations, Association of Judges, and the president, Judge Kgaleno, signed that nomination. I want to establish as to what are the ethos that are foundational to that association. It's because of the reservations that I have on Judge Kgaleno. Let me leave it there.
Commissioner, I was one of the founding members of that organization, together with Justice Lucy Mailula and a few other judges and magistrates. The purpose, the foundational purpose of that organization is to focus on the development and advancement of women in the judiciary and issues affecting women. Whether the organization has achieved that fully over the past few years is questionable, but there is an activism within that organization. They do organize training sessions for, especially in particular for their members who mainly are women judges.
Just a follow-up, Siji. And then what about the caliber of the persons that you put on as office bearers in the organization?
The office bearers are elected through elections by the members. The members vote for their leaders.
What is it that you are looking for in that person who's elected into office?
Well, it should be the person that will carry the interests of the organization forward and serve its members. In reality, it doesn't always happen, but that's what should be the guiding principles.
Okay, let me leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siji.
Commissioner Norman?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Justice Theron.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Norman.
Yes, thank you. I have read your judgment in the Gumede matter, which was subsequently confirmed by the Constitutional Court. But my question is, how difficult was it for you to balance the rights of the women in customary marriages, their rights to property in terms of their marriages, a lack thereof at the time, balancing that with the patriarchy of the society that they live in as women in the rural areas, or even if they are not, but
Yes.
being subjected to those marriages?
Commissioner Norman, one has to balance the practices of Kashmir law and where they live with the Constitution. And where a custom or practice does not, or it operates adversely to a woman, then we've got to look at the Constitution, because the right to equality is one of the founding principles of our Bill of Rights. And you compare the two and do a balancing act. And at the end of the day, it wasn't difficult to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Commissioner Nogesi, if you could just switch that mic off. Thank you. Commissioner Faure?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Justice John. Just one aspect that I would like you to just expand on or clarify. You say in your questionnaire, in particular when presented with the opportunity, I have protected the dignity and rights of vulnerable people, especially women. Seeing Nkomo versus the state and Gumede versus President of the Republic of South Africa, even if it meant being a lone voice. That's quoting your words. Now, in Gumede, which has been referred to by another commissioner, you sat as a single judge, I assume, in the KZN High Court.
If I recall correctly, it may have been a full bench, I'm not sure.
And the decision was upheld by the Constitutional Court.
Yes.
And in the matter of Nkomo, which you referred to, you as an acting judge of the Supreme Court of Appeal gave a dissenting judgment, and you did not disagree with Lewis J.A. and Cameron J.A. Could you just expand your reference to and explain, even if it meant being a lone voice?
It means, in a case, even if I'm the only one that holds that view, I'm prepared to stand by it, especially where it's a view that serves, in my view, or my judgment, to advance or to protect vulnerable groups. So I'm saying I will stand alone if I have to.
And are you saying that Nkomo and Gumedi underscores that and confirms that?
I would say so, yes.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Colonel.